Alright. Hey, we're back. Here's part 2 of the rest of the game. You fight like most bosses, between the ones that he just murdered. Also, Walter will follow you no matter where you go. No matter what you do, he'll follow you and try to kill you. Which will make the game a little bit difficult to do. And you want to make sure your girlfriend stays alive. She gets possessed. But before you do that, you have to end up in an apartment and use the candle to get rid of the ghost, and then you'll get yourself the best ending. And then you fight the true final boss, Solomon, a giant monster. And you have to use enough stab to finally end him for good. Like all Silent Hill games, you have to do it as fast as possible to end the reign of terror for once and for all. To make sure I won't make this review longer, I had to go ahead and skip all that and get to the true final boss. Because if you get a good ending, and not only does the monster has the same feelings and same movement as Walter, the kid that was him that was younger, that's also evil. But if you get the horrible ending, she'll die, and the young kid of him will still be alive. And Henry, without love, ends up hanging himself, which is pretty much the darkest way to end the game as much as possible. The only way you can pretty much get different endings is make sure she doesn't take damage, which will be a huge pain in the anus to do. So you have to act quick before that happens. Not to mention you want to make sure you get enough guns too. Have to move the progress of this game as much as possible. I forget to mention, and one of the ghosts that will instantly hurt Henry and take a whole chunk of your health away too. Oh, because believe me, you'll have more damage as possible. And I always find this creature creepy. I do remember seeing the ending to this one in the book before we actually had YouTube to be on there. So I actually like this 4th game in the franchise. And that was Silent Hill 04, The Room. Gotta admit, this is pretty much a half-bad game. Some people love it, some people will hate it. Some of them will think it's the worst game out there, part of the franchise. But I actually like how they made it a few difference and from all 3 games. You can have one person get trapped inside an apartment, isolated in one place. nowhere else to go until he finally figures out of a few riddles and other things, and finally had the chance to leave his apartment for good, buying all the keys. He can have a huge success in his life, winning his goal. So all I can say is Silent Hill 4 is a pretty great part of the franchise. But someday I'll talk about the other ones. I love the music, I love the voice acting, the graphics are pretty much well done, just like the last other free games. This fourth game is a bit scary, but the third one will always become one of the greatest terrifyingest games out there. So I had to give Silent Hill 4 to be one of the most memorable sequels out there. Still pretty great. Not the best, but still a pretty great game. Nonetheless, I give this game a 7 out of 10. Because you have to be trapped inside of an apartment place. It's until you finally do all the things throughout this entirety of the game. Even unlocking extra things, just like in the last. Number 2, using different weapons, other challenges, and have high scores and defeating amounts of enemies. Since escape and sentence of saving and continues. And pretty much get a game over screen, which I always find a bit scary. So this will always be the members of really interesting mobless gameplays out there. If you're like a huge Silent Hill fan, I would recommend playing it. And so, you'll always find this game really scary and horrifyingly messed up at times. Good graphics and easy to solve puzzles of finding items here and there. I'm glad they brought this back in the third one to the HD remake, which nobody talks about, because to tell you the truth, the HD remake I did only 3 and 4 and not the first or second one did not turn out so well. So just stick with playing the original ones until the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. I'll catch you guys when I talk about another interesting game that deserves to have a franchise. See you all around, mates. Goodbye for now.